I'm always like the Heisman Award. You could give it to anybody, right? But the most valuable player award, what are the Spurs without Wemby? They're not 37-3 since February. And I love Stephon Castle. But I always said this about Jokic. You take him off the floor, are they a playoff team? You take SGA off the floor, and I believe this. I think their bench in the Eastern Conference would be a playoff team. I think you could take OKC's first 5 guys off the bench, and they would be like a 4th or a 5th seed. I'm not joking. Without SGA, without Holmgren, Lou Dort, I mean, they'd make the playoffs. Well, that's an advantage. You're not as valuable when you get beat and you've got 2 bigs. I mean, they took him off the floor last night defensively. I'm not denying he's great. Give him the scoring championship. Is he most valuable? That's the downside to playing in a stacked roster is we don't rely on you as much. And, I mean, the Spurs would be interesting without Wemby, but they did 37-3. I'm sorry. So it was almost, you know what it felt like to me? It was pre-voter fatigue. It was like, we know he's going to win 7 of these. We're going to be exhausted in about 4 years. Usually, remember when Jokic kept winning them and they gave one to Embiid? And it was like, well, voter fatigue. This was pre-MVP voter fatigue because everybody in the world knows he's going to rattle off so many of these. The only question for the Spurs, and you're thinking the same thing I am, they're much more entertaining to watch than OKC. OKC, honestly, feels like a supporting character. As defending champs, they do. They're just not that entertaining. I cannot keep my eyes off San Antonio.
All right. Let's address this. The relentless criticism of OKC or the constant minimization of them, whether it is aimed at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or the team as a whole, truly gets under my skin. It genuinely does. And I mentioned this in my post-game clip. Since I cover both the Spurs and OKC, these are 2 of, without a shadow of a doubt, my absolute favorite teams to watch, and it is not even remotely close. It makes me feel like there is no reason to watch any other squad play when either of these 2 is on the court. For these playoffs, the plan is simple. I will make a Spurs video and an OKC video. I will look at the matchup through the lens of the Spurs for that video, and I will look at it through the lens of OKC for the other. So I just want to let you know, if you see a Spurs video and you are wondering, wait, where is the OKC video, or vice versa, that is why. But before I dive in, OKC Thunder fans, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full length of the video. When you do that, view counts go through the roof, subscriber numbers go through the roof. And it is not about chasing views, it is not about chasing subscribers. Obviously, I want as many views and subscribers as I can get. But the real goal is to be able to create Oklahoma City Thunder content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss. So we can keep having honest, grounded, unbiased, authentic conversations about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because even the broadcasters mentioned, oh, these are 2 small market teams. And I just do not think about it through that lens. But I suppose that is why people do not talk about them as much, or why they feel more comfortable downplaying their greatness. It is like, well, we are not really angering the Los Angeles fan base. We are not really angering the New York fan base. And that just drives me crazy. I want to talk about the things Colin is saying, and then I also want to talk about the game itself. So I want to hit both points here. But we will start where Colin started, right? The idea that OKC is not entertaining to watch, and that SGA is not the MVP. I want to start with not entertaining to watch, because OKC is literally, again, they are literally one of the most exciting teams in the league. The only reason they are not the single most exciting team is because Wembanyama himself, individually, is just, that. Obviously, you might not be excited about it, but even OKC fans, I think, could acknowledge that Wembanyama individually is one of the most fascinating things we have ever encountered. So just watching him on the court, take away Wembanyama, and then the San Antonio Spurs are not the most exciting team to watch at all. Even without SGA, OKC plays such beautiful, brilliant, incredible basketball. Again, the movement, the fluidity, it is absolutely poetry in motion. And again, if you do not find that entertaining, then you do not actually understand basketball. Then you are not. I do not want to say you are not a basketball fan, because I think people can be fans in all different degrees, right? If you want to watch a superhero movie because you really love the lore and the background and all that, that is great. If you are a fan of superhero movies because you just like to see things blow up, that is fine too, right? There is no single correct way to enjoy something. But if you find yourself watching OKC and you are not entertained, and you do not think they are fun to watch, then I am just confused. And I strongly encourage you to learn more about basketball, because you are missing out on so much. You are clearly watching things without actually understanding why they are special, why they are great. So I think that is an insane statement to make, to say that OKC is not entertaining. I cannot wrap my head around the idea that people genuinely feel that way. It does not compute for me. I take pride in being able to see things from every possible angle and being able to put myself in other people's shoes. I cannot understand this. I really cannot. I struggle to comprehend it. It just does not make any sense to me at all. Not at all. Now, the whole conversation about whether SGA is an MVP or not. I think it is a fascinating discussion. I actually have made the argument, I do not know if SGA is the MVP. And again, obviously I am a massive fan of SGA, obviously a massive fan of OKC, etc., etc. So this is not me being a hater. This is not me trying to diminish what they are. When SGA won the MVP and Colin said, "Hey, we need to have a conversation about national players versus international players," I said, "What? No, we don't. That does not make any sense. Let us just celebrate SGA." But I do think, and this is because I go 100% unbiased and I look at everything through the most honest lens I personally can. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, at least you know it is coming from a genuine place. I think there is a legitimate argument that SGA is not necessarily the MVP. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that the voters made a mistake or that he is clearly not the MVP. I am not saying that at all. To me, it really just comes down to how great OKC is as a team. Right? I think you could argue that OKC could legitimately win it all with SGA averaging only 10 points, because this roster is so deep, so connected, so well coached. They are just so dialed in. This game against the Spurs proves that even further. Right? SGA was not at his best. That is obvious. He has not been at his best throughout the entire playoffs. That is obvious. It has been talked about in pretty much every game we watch. We keep saying, this does not quite look right with SGA right now. We cannot put our finger on it, but it is just not all clicking. Yet, they obviously keep winning. And in this game against San Antonio, you have Wembanyama playing out of his mind and being an absolute monster. And the San Antonio Spurs were rolling that game the entire time. Yet OKC was far from playing the best version of themselves. Far from it. Far from it. Far from it. And yet, they were absolutely in a position to take that game. They were absolutely in a position to win that game. I mean, I could not believe what I was witnessing, honestly. I could not believe it. You saw their experience, their composure. Right now, I always talk about organized chaos when things get really sped up and really quick. With a minute 30 to go in the fourth quarter, that is where so many basketball games are won or lost. And I refer to it as organized chaos. There is not a single team better at organized chaos than OKC. And that is why they got to double overtime. That is why they came back from being down in the fourth quarter, were able to tie the game up, even take the lead and so on. And they pretty much repeated that in both overtime periods. That is the beauty and the specialness of OKC. And that then takes me into the game itself. I did not like how they came out in the first quarter. You are at home. Your fan base is so intense, so loud. Some of the most exciting games to watch are when OKC is at home because of the crowd and because of the energy. It is just such an awesome environment. I would have loved to have seen OKC play so fast, so quick, so physical. Because you want to speed up San Antonio. San Antonio played so slow and in control. And again, credit to them, I thought that showed great maturity on their part. But that is one of the best cards I feel OKC could play. You are not used to this experience. You are on the road, playing the defending champions. We are at home, we have the crowd, we know how to play lightning fast. We are going to make you uncomfortable. We are going to make you feel rushed. We are going to force you into difficult shots. We are going to make Wembanyama try to do too much. And they did not do that. They let San Antonio completely ease into the game, get settled, control the pace. For the vast majority of that contest, San Antonio pretty much kept OKC at arm's length. It was very much like, okay, you are going on a little run here. You are getting a little hot. No. And realistically, if Caruso had not played out of his mind, the game would have been much wider. Caruso played out of his mind. And again, if you are not entertained by that, then you really do not know basketball, man. Then I do not know what entertains you. What do you want to see? Because watching Alex Caruso do everything, all the dirty work, all the little things, all the big things, it was unbelievable. You typically do not see superstar players do everything. A lot of the things Alex Caruso does, right? All the really key rebounds, big steals, big defensive stops, blocks, strips, all that other little stuff that the Drew Holidays do, what the Carusos do. And that is why I always say, every championship team needs an Alex Caruso. There is one guy from the Pacers who played for the Sixers, I cannot think of his name right now, I never could remember his name, but you always need that type of player. But you typically do not see those players also shoot the lights out of the ball and be essentially the number one option for a game, because it is hard to do everything at once. And we saw that from Caruso. That was a remarkable game. A remarkable game. You are probably not going to see that version of Caruso every single game from this point forward, right? So if Caruso is not playing that far out of his mind, and not to mention, it will be interesting to see what San Antonio does. Right? Are they like, wait a second, we need to pay more attention to Caruso? And does that open the door for other players? Again, OKC just fell out of rhythm for the whole game. They just did not feel as connected. And yet they still kept pace. Think about how dominant Wembanyama was. Wembanyama was obviously out of his mind that game, literally historically great. And the game went to double overtime. Your superstars were not historically great. They did not play their best version of themselves. And it went to double overtime. OKC absolutely could have won this game. And it would have been one of the most, if not the most, impressive wins I have ever seen, and without a doubt the most devastating loss for San Antonio. That is what I said in my post-game clip, if OKC was able to win that game, that could have been the series right there. Because that would have been an absolute devastating and exhausting loss for San Antonio. For OKC, I do not feel that way. They lost a game, obviously, and I do not think it is devastating. You are just kind of like, obviously not ideal. We want to win. We want to win every game, and it is our first loss of the playoffs. But it is okay. We did not play our best. Far from it. You are sitting in that locker room post-game thinking, yeah, we lost, but we did not play our best version. We did not play our best ball. And you feel like the Spurs potentially gave you their best punch. Their best punch combined with your, I do not want to say your worst ball, but far from your best, led to a double overtime game. So what happens when OKC plays a significantly better version of their ball? Is Wembanyama going to go for 50, 25, and 25? What else is there for Wembanyama to do? Now, Castle did not play as great. He had good plays, but he turned the ball over a lot, and a lot of that was because of OKC. He was the one player that OKC made uncomfortable. And you got him over dribbling, especially down the stretch. You want to see those things. I wanted to see those things from the jump, from the moment the tip went up. That is what you want to see. That is what I was expecting. And there was none of that. I wanted to see OKC bring the organized chaos in the first quarter. You wanted to be watching this game and feel like, oh my gosh, we are 2 minutes into this game, and OKC is playing like it is the final 45 seconds. That is what I was expecting to see, and that is what I think OKC needs to do in order to utilize their home court advantage, to utilize their experience. Because you could tell, when it was winding down, with a minute 30 left, whatever it was, a one-score game, a one-point game, two-point game, whatever variations we saw, you saw San Antonio grasping at straws at times, whereas OKC was completely in control. They understood. That is their experience. That is the veteran leadership. That is a team that has legitimately been in the playoffs multiple times and has won it all. You want to see them leverage that not just in the final minutes of a game, but throughout the entire contest. And I just do not think they did that. So we could just say, oh, well, Shai wasn't on, and so wasn't hitting his shots. And that is all true too. It is a make or miss league. You make your shots, you win. You miss your shots, you lose. But there is more to it for me than just that. I do not think it is fair to just say, oh, Westbrook was a little off. Once he is on, it is over. It is more than that. But I do think it bodes well that, again, double overtime, insane game, yet OKC was absolutely, positively in multiple positions to win. Multiple positions to win. And they played really far from their best. Really far. It was not their worst by any stretch of the imagination, but that was not their best brand of basketball. Now, San Antonio deserves a lot of credit for that as well. Why made OKC uncomfortable? They did. Even down the stretch, some of their zone defenses and whatnot. So some of it you do just have to shake San Antonio's hand and say, okay, yeah, you did good. But I still think the actual approach itself, the mentality, the level of intensity, the execution, to me, that is where OKC still has plenty of room to execute as the series unfolds. So Game 2 is going to be incredibly telling. Game 2 is going to be incredibly telling, and I fully expect that OKC comes out with much more intensity, much more speed. And if I am the Thunder, I am thinking, I want to go, go, go. We want this game to be as fast and as chaotic as possible. We want San Antonio to be sped up. We want them to be uncomfortable. We want the fans to be screaming every 5 seconds, and we want the San Antonio Spurs players to feel like they are going insane on the court. And OKC can absolutely control that. They can absolutely control that. That is what made last year's series with the Indiana Pacers and OKC so fun, because those were the two best teams at organized chaos. And they both were able, anytime there was a crazy, random loose ball or whatever, it felt like we were going a million miles per hour. We saw it in this game with Dylan Harper, where there were like 8 different chances OKC could have gotten the ball, but they failed in that moment. That is the type of organized chaos I am talking about. When you see Stephon Castle feeling overwhelmed, over-dribbling, keep losing the ball, slipping and sliding, that is the kind of pressure you want to apply again and again, not just in the final minutes. So, it is just a crazy game. Crazy game, crazy series, just chapter 1 of many, many chapters. We do not have to use this loss as a way to downplay SGA's contributions to OKC. And we also do not now have to say OKC is not that entertaining. That game was insanely entertaining. And it was not just because of Wembanyama. Wembanyama is a monster. The Spurs are incredibly fun to watch. Again, I do not think even OKC fans would or could deny that. But to use that as a reference point for why the Thunder are not entertaining is nonsense. You know what I do not find entertaining? The Lakers playing. I do not find LeBron James, Reeves, and Luka entertaining at all. You know what I do find entertaining? The Oklahoma City Thunder. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Oklahoma City Thunder? How do you feel about this game and how it unfolded? How do you feel about the idea that the Thunder are not entertaining and that SGA is not the MVP? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let us get into some discussions. Let us get into some debates. But ultimately, let us just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we are really excited to be part of. I think we are well on our way to doing that. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.